Now we saw that we have installed Drupal. We have this up and running, but we do not have any modules. We do not have any good modules that we need. Let's go over to the code once again. Let's close the web. We do not need that one. Let's open web. In web, we have modules. In modules, we right now do not have any. We just have a README text which shows what to place in this directory. We can place downloaded and custom modules in this directory that separates downloaded custom modules and a lot of things. So what we are going to do is first we're going to install the AI module and the Gemini provider because we want to configure Gemini. In reality, you can consider if you have an OpenAI key, you can go ahead and configure OpenAI. You can do what you want. You can say Drupal modules. This is the main site that we should use. So just browser and let's just say yeah. In search, it should give us artificial intelligence. Let's go here. There'll be a command that will help us. Yeah. We need Drupal, the latest one. It works with 10.5 and 11.2. And copy this. And now, as you can see, a module will be installed in the installation. Just wait and watch. Yeah. Now we can see there is for Contrib. Contrib it has installed the AI module as well as the key module, which is essential for the AI module, as the AI module depends on key. That's why both of them got rolled. We also need the Gemini AI provider. We'll go here. Yeah. So you can use OpenAI provider, you can use Anthropic provider, you can use anything. I personally use Gemini because I have it free. Gemini provider. You go here, version 1.1. Here, this will also install the Gemini provider. Let's see. Yeah, it does. We have a Gemini provider exactly here. Now, what we are going to do is go to our web version again. We're going to say, hey, I want to extend, I want to enable my modules. We say we want AI and the AI core, Gemini provider. We want the chatbot as well. These three things. Hit install. We need key and AI assistant also. I don't think so. We need chatbot. So we need AI core, Gemini provider. That's it. That will install key as well. It will because our AI core depends on key. That's pretty good because our Gemini provider we're going to configure a key. Okay. Just another. We can check that out. Let's see if it does other to us. First, what we're going to do is we're going to go to AI infrastructure. In AI infrastructure, we're going to say AI platform for models. We're going to say set up Google Gemini. We do not have a key. We're going to create a new. So key name is going to be Gemini. Our description is going to be this is for Gemini. That's my default description. Go to and here I'm going to paste key value. So I have pasted the key value and we are now going to click save. Once we have this key here, a key has been added. That's good. Let's go to again configuration. We can now go to AI infrastructure. We can go to models, Gemini settings. We can select key, we can select Gemini. Can have these settings configured as well. Right now I'm going to press the default and save configuration. Our configuration has been saved. Yay! Now, for the next part, we are now going to install our module, the AI recipe generator. So let's just go into Contrib. We need to go into Contrib, but for that, we'll have to go into web. In web, we'll have to go to Contrib. No, we have to go to modules. Then we'll have to go to Contrib. We do not need to go into Contrib. We need to create a custom folder called custom. And when like custom, it does not have data. So I have to go here. Other see this see I'm gonna go here. Click custom. We have custom folder ready. In that, we're going to enter custom. Once we're in custom, we will have to pull up projects. Let's go here with HTTPS. We have copies. We'll say git clone our AI recipe generator. Yay, done. It should have all our files. That's great. Now, what are we going to do is we're going to enable this. Let's go to web. Let's again go to extend. Let's just say AI recipe generator. Let's say exactly the description. Like you can see, it creates recipes using AI. Now, what is that? As we can see, we had added this creates recipes using AI. This is exactly the description. Since it is an AI module, we have mentioned it in our. This is a composer.json. We need info that level. Since the package is AI, it comes under AI. It is module, and AI recipe generator creates recipes using AI. The description actually comes from here, not from the composer.json. Now let's just say install. So install. Yay! We had no errors and we installed. Now let us take a step back. We had seen these two parts. One part was this, and there were some other parts. Now, first, let us understand a few files before we get across how this code is actually working and testing it out in our actual newly coded Drupal sandbox. If we have understood info.yaml scripts, now let us understand what is AI recipe generator dot routing. Yeah. In Drupal, we have about 5 core YAML files. I like to remember them by polls, and you can find that blog of mine as well. Exactly, yeah. Drupal's full YAML files that we have. So the moment load, so we have 5 YAML files, and this is a pretty interesting analogy I've given you. So P is for permissions, our permissions module, which we have not set up yet. I is for the info module, which we have set up. R is for the routing, which I'm going to explain. L is for libraries, which we have not set up, and S is for services. So today we are going to explore R, that is routing, and S, that is services. Great. So we have all of these things. The routing is basically like a hotel menu. When we go into the hotel, we are routed like will be like a special dish. We get exactly the right table to the right kitchen setup. The host uses this. Like say someone takes your order, it takes if it is a coffee, it goes to the barista, or if it is something like proper food main kitchen item, we go to the chef there. So that is our routing. So here we can see we have two things. We have one is our test form, the test link that we created for the AI recipe generator. The path here that we have mentioned is the admin config development AI recipe test. That is the exact path we are going to go. Where we are going to find this space. Here it defaults to form, which is mentioned in this kind of directory. I would say src informs. We have this recipe generator test.com. It derives its source code from there. Title of this page, as mentioned in underscore title, is the AI recipe generator test UI. The requirements it needs administrator side configurations as of now. So we have enabled it that way. So what happens if I actually go to this box? Let's copy this part. Let's here and we go here. This was this exact same page. They're just going to add to the fonts. And now we can see what is a form. Now we can just select form mention. A form is basically a web page where, let's say, when you walk into a restaurant, I use the same analogy. You're talking to some waiter or someone who you give some input. Where the user interacts with the system, that is a form. So right now we have two pages, hence we have two forms. The first page is the test UI, where we are writing a recipe form. We are selecting a model that we want. That is our test form. And second is our another page that is mentioned in routing. That is the config AI recipes, where we can add the system prompt for that. It again has the same process, the form. As you can see, we have AI recipe generator, then we have form, Inside form, we have settings form, exactly there it is going. Page title will be AI recipe generator settings, and the permissions will be administrators. But now this is pretty cool as an entire routing instruction sits in one routing.yaml, nowhere else. This one file controls the entire routing process. Pretty interesting, right? And it's pretty simple. So once we have done this, we are completed with this. We have our two routing pages. Like similarly, if I go to tab, press this here, and if we want to go onto this page, we can just say, yeah, we are to the settings page. It's that easy. Now we can of course find it in configurations as well. But this is our main. So now, once we have understood forms, now let us understand the services. Should work when we have ordered something. Let's say whatever you like, whatever is your favorite dish. It goes to the kitchen. In the kitchen, it actually gets prepared. Services are something like that, where the actual work takes place. So the form sends some package to the services, where services works on different things. Let's say here we are making a prompt, sending it to the AI, fetching the response back. All this work is done by the services, and it presents it to the form. The form just displays it as its UI. Now, as you can see, I have a interesting, what do I say, yeah, system diagram, which will help you to understand better. Now, the blue boxes are the user action. Here, let's say we choose our AI provider and input a prompt, whatever prompt we want. Then we click on generate recipe. It goes to the browser where we use an Ajax client. Now, an Ajax client is basically an invert Drupal call. So let's say if I'm selecting, there were other AI providers. Let's say there was, apart from this, there was OpenAI strategy. If I selected on that, the AI model providers will filter according to that. Now, this happens on basis of an internal call, which is called an Ajax call. For this, as you can notice, we do not need to refresh the page. That is exactly what the Ajax call does. It prevents us from refreshing the page. And that is exactly what it's doing. User ID and AI provider ID, it goes to the Drupal Ajax controller. And from there, it can fetch the different models that we want and it gives it. Here, this is based on our Gemini. Since I have used Gemini, so it is completely based on Gemini. Let's say we have a request. It goes to the Ajax, Google Ajax controller. From there, it calls our service. Now the service is called AI recipe generator, recipe service generator. There, it also fetches the config factory. Now, what is config factory? Config factory is also an API. The config factory API, what it does, it fetches the default configurations. Let's see your existing blog already has, let's say, a profile field, or it already has some dependencies installed. So that the current new existing YAML that we are going to generate, the blueprint that we are going to generate, it is not repeated. We are going to fetch it via the config. So that takes care of this. The system instructions are explicit instructions that we write in prompt. We have given the customization that it is completely dependent on the user, what or he or she wants the focus. So from that, he or she inputs system configuration. He saves configuration, just saved in the database. From that, it is fetched to the config factory. Config factory gives the configuration of the site context to the AI recipe generator service. This service does this is the entire backend processing. It sends the combined request prompts. That is the system instructions and what are the user instructions. The external AI provider, let's say in this case we had Gemini LLM, returns the response. We have also injected the context via extractor, as I said, the config API. It passes the results back to the controller. It generates with the generated recipe JSON, Ajax response, and we update the results on the page. So this is how the entire flow is being. Now let me also explain that to you with help of slides. Now, since we have services as well, we have one more .yaml file called services YAML file. Like routing, all our services are mapped in this file. A file in the service folder without having context does not make sense because the system is not going to. So we have the AI recipe generator context extractor. As I said, the config factory API that we are going to use. That is the context extractor. Similarly, like it is the class is Drupal AI recipe generator. In services, we have the context extractor. And Here in class, we have service recipe generation service. Similarly, in this folder, we have this file. It takes in these arguments, which are already defined here, and here it takes the AI provider, AI recipe generator context extractor. Since this is the main thing that puts all combines everything and takes it to the LLM, we also have the context. Let's go to each and every file one by one. First, let's go with the input flow. On this page, let me use this. In this page, we are mainly interacting. So we can see here, we are initially getting, it is fetching the provider options, that the models for the selected provider based on provider ID. Then it makes an AJAX call. This is what I call the AJAX magic. As I said, the callback and the wrapper. This is the model ID, similarly prompt and the actions, and it returns the form. Here it updates the model drop down. As I told you, based on the AI provider that we select, it updates the model list. And this is exactly what this file is to. Uh, then now I'll show you a code that is, let's say, where is all this text coming from? Describe the feature that you want to build. This is exactly on this page. If I just press it. This is exactly the description, the prompt has this. Describe the feature that you want to build. Everything that we see on this page is embedded within this file. Now we have the settings. The settings page that you can see everything on this page is embedded within this. As you can see, if I search this, the so basically, we are generating the form ID, the editable configuration, where we are inputting the system instruction, the strict rules that the LLM must follow while generating a valid recipe. Now, we have given a default prompt, of course, but the user might want to change it as per his or her customization. So for that, we have built this. So let us go on to services. Firstly, let us understand how the context extractor works. It uses the Drupal config factory API. It uses that. And in that, it fetches all the existing content types, existing fields. It fetches all of those things and it gives it back when we are inputting the query. Now, when we go to the recipe services of PHP, this is where the main magic, the call to the LLM and everything is taking place. Or the call to the LLM is handled by the AI module. This just calls the AI module to pass on the information. We can see that the provider, all the provider things are being sent here, and the chat mode is being selected. Here we can see that we are getting the settings. That is basically the system prompts we are fetching from this. So this is a two-step process to get the system prompts. The active site configurations are fed by the config API, and it bundles both of these things, the system prompt that we have here, and along with the user prompt. It bundles both of these things together to call for a response from the LLM. We send the specific model to the provider instance. That is the input. That is the combination of the system and user prompt along with the model ID that you want to send. And then we get the response. So we're doing all of these three things here on this page. Now let us test something again. Let's say we again say super dash and I say I want to build prompt. I want a blog with let's just save the configuration. I want a blog with profile picture and say I need some description text. Use this and it's a simple prompt. It just generates some response. That is the input. Not that it will be a valid list, not that will see in upcoming weeks. But it's sending the response to the LLM and hopefully we'll get something. But wait, still uh, yay, we got the YAML back. We have the blog with user profiles, it has a description, it has a type module, it has the core requirement Drupal.10, packet star short. It's pretty good. We got some response. I mean, it's a long response and we might have to make it better, but we have response. So the AI model works. And this is exactly what we have set up and how we have set up. Amazing, right? That being said, that brings us end to week one of Drupal and week one of a GSOC journey. Catch you up in the next one, and thanks for watching.